Hey guys, it's Jackie. So I kind of just wanted to let you guys know before the video starts. I obviously reviewing Welcome to Raccoon City, the new Resident Evil movie. I just want to let y'all know, right away, whether you liked it or you disliked it, I hold absolutely no judgment whatsoever. We're all entitled to our opinions, so I don't mean anything personal by some of the things I have to say about the movie. But so please feel free to give your thoughts, and please don't be afraid. Like I said, we're all entitled to our opinions. So anyway, enjoy the video. Hello and welcome to the Sins Review. I'm your host, Jackie Sins. Now, if you'll excuse me for a moment. You have no idea how long I was holding that in. I mean, what the fuck? Seriously, what the fuck? Hey, yeah, I said, hey, what's going on? Seriously, what the fuck was going on while this movie was being made? In fact, with the reason why we love Resident Evil. There's virtually no character development. Did anyone really think this would be the definitive Resident Evil movie? Honestly,
Why am I not surprised?
okay, so clearly I did not like this movie. Who am I kidding? I fucking hated it. It was complete torture. I don't even know where to start or where to end. I mean, I knew there was gonna be some changes from the video games, but I had no idea how drastic they were. The number one mistake was they were trying to smush like the first two or three games all into one movie. You know, if they smushed it in even more, it would have been able to fit nicely into a sandwich. Then they switch things around, and all of a sudden we have another Anderson movie. Yes, I said it. They Anderson this bitch. And by the way, my no spoilers rule will not apply to this movie because I fucking hate it that much. I want to spare you the pain of watching it yourself. Also, look, I will try not to make too many comparisons to the video games. I will say this. The first Resident Evil game with the Spencer Mansion and Stars Alpha team takes place in July 1998. Resident Evil 2 takes place on September 30th, 1998. And Resident Evil 3 takes place somewhat before the events of Resident Evil 2 on the same night and then goes into October 1st, 1998, where Raccoon City is about to be destroyed by a nuclear blast. However, this movie is trying to place those storylines on the same night, and obviously they're having to pick and choose what to leave in and what to leave out. Let me talk about some of the major things that are not in this movie that are in the video games. Barry Burton of Star's Alpha Team from Resident Evil 1 is not in this. Rebecca Chambers of Star's Bravo Team is not in this. We don't get the Tyrant from Resident Evil 1. We don't get the Mr. X Tyrant from Resident Evil 2. And we don't get Nemesis from Resident Evil 3. I'd also like to add that there's barely even a concept of survival horror here. I mean, all of the characters are in groups for the most part, which means there's no real feeling of isolation and therefore no feeling of one person having to rely on themselves to survive. And really that makes it less scary. So we get a glimpse into Chris and Claire Redfield as children who lost their parents and them staying in the Raccoon City orphanage. Apparently, Lisa Trevor from the Resident Evil 1 remake is in the orphanage instead of the Spencer Mansion in the Arkley Mountains. The child actress playing a young Claire Redfield is just awful. It's excruciating to watch. Also, William Birkin, one of the Umbrella scientists from RE2, runs the orphanage instead of Raccoon City Police Chief Brian Irons. Dr. William Birkin is played by Neil McDonough. Also, I guess the filmmakers wanted to make the whole thing with Umbrella and the experimentation and viruses and all that stuff more personal to Chris and Claire, and so they actually are very well acquainted with William Birkin. Of course, we're expected to be kind of afraid of Lisa, but she's apparently somewhat friendly with Claire. However, she, I guess, grabs Claire by the face and... That was a dream, and a grown-up Claire Redfield, played by Kaya Scodelario, wakes up in the passenger seat of a fuel truck. The truck driver from the RE2 remake is apparently driving her to Raccoon City. Okay, first of all, why isn't Claire riding her motorcycle into town? Oh well, in this movie, she doesn't have a motorcycle of her own, but her brother Chris does, which she steals later on. Also, she's not a college student coming back to Raccoon City to find her supposedly missing brother. She's a little runaway. What is the point of all of this? Also, there's a long span of time where there's like nothing happening. It's all exposition and it's super boring. In fact, there is a lot of annoying exposition and jump scares, and it's just, it's not chilling, it's not building up atmosphere, it's just not all that scary to me. Leon S. Kennedy is played by Evan Yogia. I really don't understand this casting choice at all, and I'm not even going to get into the obvious stuff. So, in this movie, Leon is a rookie cop who accidentally shot his partner in the ass, apparently, and has been reassigned to, I guess, desk duty. Also, Leon meets the STARS unit and other RPD officers in a bar/restaurant instead of meeting Claire in a diner or gas station that's overrun by zombies. Albert Wesker is played by Tom Hopper. He's nothing like Wesker at all. Jill Valentine is played by Hannah John Kamen. She's not like the Jill Valentine we all know, but this movie wanted crazy Jill. She's like a bit reckless and crazy, like drawing her sidearm and whatnot, and she snatches up Wesker's sandwich, and we get one of the biggest slaps in the face in the movie, and trust me, there are many. Nuh-uh, it's Jill's sandwich now. Excuse me again for a moment. Anyway, Chris Redfield is played by Robbie Amell. Chris is actually here at home safe and sound, and not on vacation in Europe somewhere. Now, in this movie, the Birkin family has William, Annette, I think, and Sherry. And in Resident Evil 2, both Sherry's parents, William and Annette, are scientists working for Umbrella. But in this movie, Annette's apparently just a stay-at-home mom, I guess. Again, slap in the face. Claire is also not the one who meets Sherry. Chris and Jill are. I'll get back to that later. Chief Irons, played by Donald Liu, apparently sent Bravo Team, which is a 2-officer unit in a Jeep, up to the Spencer Mansion. Again, no Rebecca Chambers or Enrique or the several other members of STAR's Bravo Team who also have their own helicopter. Irons doesn't have any affiliation with Umbrella. He's not being paid to keep their secrets. He basically has no reason to suspend Jill Valentine to try to keep her from exposing what she and the other STARS members witnessed at the Spencer Mansion. And that sets the whole precedent for Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. The scene in the Arklay Mountains is missing the zombie dogs chasing STAR's Alpha Team into the mansion, and that's where basically the game would start for the player. And you know, there's nothing. It's super boring. It's super lame, and why did they decide to cut that out of there? Okay, I know I have to move on. So, Irons is apparently not even a bad guy, and he just ends up getting killed by the movie's only liquor. In the Raccoon City orphanage. He was also accompanied by Claire and Leon, and Lisa Trevor saves Claire and Leon from the liquor, and she helps them get to the Spencer Mansion. Look, in the RE1 remake, Lisa Trevor is 100% a victim. Like, she was experimented on against her will by the Umbrella Corporation. Her parents suffered horrible fates. Her mother got infected with the T-virus and turned into a zombie. And Lisa killed her and cut off her mother's face, believing that she was actually an imposter who was wearing her mother's face. And she's been wearing that tied to the side of her face, so that eventually, you know, in her mind, when she finds her mother, her real mother, she can return the face to her. I mean, all of this is in Lisa's diary, which you can read in the game. It's in the Trevor's Cabin section. None of this is even mentioned in the movie. And, you know, while, yes, Lisa Trevor is a very tragic character, she is still a deranged monster that is trying to kill you. But in this movie, she's friends with Claire Redfield. They did to Lisa Trevor what they did to Nemesis in Resident Evil Apocalypse. How could any fan of the video games be okay with this? Oh, and Wesker is not such a bad guy. I mean, he shoots and kills Annette and then shoots the shit out of William right in front of their daughter, and then ends up getting shot by Jill. She's like crying, oh no, we could save you. And then Wesker's like, no, I fucked up and I'm sorry and stuff. And then he tells our heroes how to get out of Raccoon City before it's destroyed. So there's a little bit of redemption for setting up his team in the Spencer Mansion. Wesker is the most iconic villain in Resident Evil history. Why are we making bad guys into not so bad guys? William Birkin also has this silly as fuck monologue when he's transforming into the G monster from injecting himself with the G virus. And he's talking to Chris saying, "Did you honestly believe you're going to be a part of my family, Chris?" Oh, I fucking hated that. The last thing that I will mention that really disappointed me was the fact that we never get any tender moments between Claire and Sherry, or Chris and Sherry, other than when Sherry runs into Chris's arms after witnessing both of her parents being gunned down. I was really hoping to at least see Claire give her red leather jacket to Sherry and console her about the loss of her parents. But no, we couldn't even get that. You couldn't even give me that, movie. Okay, that's most of the negative stuff. I will admit, the sets look fantastic. The Raccoon City orphanage looks great. It looks just like from the Resident Evil 2 remake, and the RPD also looks great. I also think there was a very interesting idea about kind of showing the transition of people who are infected with the T virus slowly transitioning into full-on zombie. Like, they'll still have some humanity and be able to, communicate vocally, like when zombies were attacking the Raccoon City Police Department. They were saying, "Let me in," like we could hear that, but obviously they were infected and they were becoming zombies, and we saw that transition, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City was a shit sandwich. It wasn't scary, the writing was shit, the changes were shit. The survival horror aspect was not represented at all. Look, I want to be clear. If you liked this movie, I hold absolutely no judgment against you whatsoever. Okay, we're all entitled to our opinions. My opinion is that this movie just doesn't live up to the legacy of Resident Evil. I feel like everyone involved in the making of this film is saying,
Oops, I did it again. I played with your heart. Got lost in the game. Ooh, baby, baby.
Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City is a movie I hate, and that's its fate. This has been the Sins Review. I'm Jackie Sins.